This is day 2 of the Playful Leadership Challenge. Let's get into it. Hello again. Welcome. This is day 2 of 5 of the Playful Leadership Challenge. I'm excited to be here. Happy that you're here and joining us again. And I am, for those who don't know, I'm Betsaida LeBron. I'm a team building strategist and a management coach and the founder of Improv EQ, who is bringing you this challenge. So really excited that you're here. If you're watching live, say hello. Love to know who's here. And if you are watching the replay, you can still say hello. Just add a hashtag replay so we know you're watching it a little bit later. But just really excited to be seeing what people are sharing about the challenge yesterday. So yesterday was challenge number 1. It was to go on an epic adventure walk. And I love just seeing the people who were able to do it and what their experience was and all the sharing that's happening. I'm enjoying it a lot. I hope you are too, and connecting with each other. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it is not too late to join. You can catch the replay of yesterday's video by registering for the challenge, and make sure that you have everything that you need to watch the replay and to catch up. You can absolutely still do it, and then join us in the LinkedIn group and continue to the conversation all this week. So make sure that you join us, right? Love knowing that you are here. We're having such fun this week. It is all about sharing how you can become a leader who builds employee engagement, connection, all by using the powerful but often dismissed tool of playfulness. That's what we're talking about all week. So yesterday I shared why play is essential to connection. We engaged our play stance and even practiced being in the moment, which is what play is all about, right? Just being open to what could happen, being open to the possibility. And so today we're gonna do pattern interrupt. I'm going to be talking to you that record scratch moment of really what does that mean to think of a pattern interrupt. So most of us are comfortable with our day-to-day routine. We operate in autopilot, right? So yesterday, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned how our brains love to time travel. Yes. And so not only are our brains basically Bill and Ted, they can also be HAL 9000. So maybe that was a very specific dated reference. I'm dating myself. But what I'm saying is that our brains are very much a supercomputer, and they don't always serve our best intention, right? So we have developed in our brains, that was an accident. So we have developed in our brains a decision-making system, right? Where we can take care of just routine things without really having to think about them. So these are things that are just happening in our brains very quickly, unconsciously, in basically autopilot. It's meant to prevent us from overloading, but this means that we don't have to work that hard to go into autopilot. And that doesn't always serve us. So the same mechanism that's supposed to protect us can also disengage us, right? So, and I'm sure you've all experienced this. I know I can't be the only one who has driven home and gets home and doesn't remember the whole drive. Like I don't remember every light that I passed, or I'm not really even sure like what happened or any of that. And that kind of a weird feeling if anyone else has experienced that. Or maybe you're sitting on the couch. I know I've done this where I'm sitting on the couch watching TV and I realize I've no idea what just happened the last couple minutes. Like I was looking at the TV, but I don't know. It just didn't register what was happening, right? It is so easy to miss what's happening around us. So one of the things that improv does that's really helpful for being a pattern interrupt is that it gets us to think differently, because with improv, you can't pre-plan. And so that's one of the things that I do when I work with teams or with leaders. and managers, I bring a lot of improv exercises that kind of help to practice a lot of these skills that we're talking about when it comes to connection, when it comes to how we work with other people. And a lot of it also starts with us and our mindset and how we show up, especially as leaders. So, one of the hundreds of games that I have in my arsenal that I think is perfect and I want to share with you for this experience is called New Choice. So the game of New Choice is where one person, and this can happen a couple different ways. You might have two people doing a scene, which means that they're talking to each other back and forth, or it could be just one person telling a story. And then typically you have a facilitator, someone like myself, who will call out new choice. And whenever they say new choice, that basically means that you have to change your choice. So it would look like this if I was telling a story and I came in and I said, "Oh, thanks for the pancakes, new choice. Thanks for the hot dogs, new choice. Thanks for being amazing, Grandma, new choice. I want to quit, new choice. Trash day is tomorrow." Right? So if then they don't call new choice and you continue with the last thing that was said. So in that example, there were no pancakes, there's no hot dogs. I'm not quitting. I'm just realizing that trash day is tomorrow because everything that I say before the new choice, it's almost like it's an eraser and it is erasing that choice and the new choice is what replaces it. So this is a super fun game that you can play with the group, but you can also play this game by yourself. And so I'm going to play this game and show you kind of how it could work when you're playing it by yourself. And you can use this as a challenge for yourself, just a game to practice this idea of not getting so rigid in your idea of where it needs to go. So for this, those who are watching live, give me a suggestion of a I'm going to be telling a story, and so for this I need the suggestion of a place. Where is the story taking place? If you can put some ideas into the chat, that will help me. I'm going to improvise a story for you here, and while I give you a chance to do that, I'm pulling up a Bell app. I just downloaded this from the App Store. I didn't just download it, I've had it for a while. But this is one thing you can use. Instead of saying new choice, you can use an app to kind of help you to quickly move through. So I am looking in the chat. Wonderful. LinkedIn, I hear someone's at a grocery store. I see a playground. Wonderful. A space station. I'm loving all of these suggestions. These are wonderful. A museum. Okay. These are all really good ones. I'm just going to go with a grocery store, but they were all wonderful suggestions. Thank you. So this is a story that's going to happen at a grocery store, and every time that I'm saying new choice, I'm actually going to ding this bell. There we go. To prompt me to make a different choice. And this is completely improvised. And you're going to see as I'm doing this, especially when you're doing it by yourself, there can be you might want to pause and think and be like, wait, I need to come up with like the perfect next thing because once that new choice or ding happened, it threw me off. But in this exercise, especially if you're playing by yourself, you want to almost explode from the new choice, right? You don't want to give yourself time to hold back and to think. So here we go. This is a story that happened, the story of the grocery store. So once upon a time, there was a grocery store clerk named Myron, Joy, French, French. So this grocery store clerk named French would get up every morning at 6 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:33 a.m. Specifically, it was very important that French got up at 7:33 a.m. every morning to make sure that the lights were turned on in the store, to make sure the floors had been waxed, to make sure the bread was laid out perfectly, to make sure the French fries smelled really, really good. And that made sense because his name was French. And He was famous for the French fries that they sold at this grocery store, and it would bring people from all over to come to eat these French fries. I'm going to stop the story there. I know it's just the beginning of the story, and there's so much that we can do with the story, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how it is that you can play the game of new choice even solo. So, the interesting thing, and what I love about this game, and when I share it with others and we play and we work through it, is that it really does challenge you to be okay with letting go of your preconceived notion, with letting go of your idea, what you needed the thing to be, right? And so it is really good for helping you step outside of your comfort zone, right? Because it is so easy for us to stay comfortable, to stay in the same place that we've been, and to fall into that autopilot. And why we need to step outside of our comfort zone is because that's where growth happens. That's where the stretch happens, where we get to be challenged and we can grow. And that is really important. And we have to do that intentionally because our brain will not put us into challenging places. If it can, it will always try to protect us by keeping us doing the exact same thing, right? That story ended up being about French fries. You can tell the time if you're watching this live. It is about 12:40 p.m. Pacific time. I have not had lunch yet, so clearly that is on my mind, and that came into the story. If it's making you hungry too, um, maybe it means it's time for lunch. So, but when it comes to stepping outside of your comfort zone, I always talk uh, to my clients, whether that's in a workshop or whether it's in a coaching session, that it's important to challenge yourself. And it's like, think of like a good trainer at the gym, right? And that's really how I see myself. A lot of what I'm doing is I'm helping do some brain training. I'm helping you think in a different way and change your mindset so that you're more able to communicate, to connect. And like a gym trainer, it really, if you're not feeling it, right, then it's not really doing the job. And so it's in the same way, right? When you're pumping iron and you feel the muscles, it kind of burns. That's a good thing. It means that you're growing. The discomfort actually, right? If it's a little uncomfortable, it means that you're stretching, right? If it was comfortable, that wouldn't really be a stretch, right? That would just be the normal everyday thing. So we really need to be able to stretch and be willing to stretch because it is important and so valuable, especially as leaders, to be able to be flexible, right? I mean, I'm curious, and you can tell me in the chat, right? Um, have you ever had a day where you had a perfect plan and then it didn't go that way at all, right? Yeah, exactly. I think all of us have had that. We've all had that moment where you realize, oh, wow, I'm actually not fully in control, even though we wish that we would be, right? So the only thing that we can count on is that things are always changing and things are always going to be different and evolving. And we have to start to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so when we're doing something different, something new, you got to be okay with getting a little uncomfortable because that moment that you're comfortable, you've actually stopped growing and you're dying. So that's part of this life, right? It is part of that experience of being human is that we're going to be growing, we're going to be evolving, and all of that means we have to really step out of our comfort zone every once in a while. So, your challenge today. Besides, you have the game New Choice, which you're welcome to play. I encourage you to play it. It's a lot of fun, and you'll feel what I'm talking about where it holds you back and you want to be really safe. play it, and you can play it alone. You don't have to get live like I did and share it with other people. You can just play it by yourself and just have fun with it. And that's just a game, but your challenge, okay? Your challenge for day 2 is to interrupt and challenge your autopilot. And there's a couple ways that you could do it. I want you to pick one activity that you normally do. So don't come up with something brand new, okay? Because that's easy, but it's something that you already normally do. And I want you to change up how you do it. So, what I want you to do is I want you to go out of order. So, for example, if I make coffee in the morning, I pour the coffee first, and then I put the sugar, and then I stir it clockwise. I usually put a little splash of milk before I stir it, and I stir it clockwise. So if I was going to interrupt and challenge my autopilot, I would do that out of order. So I'm still going to make my coffee, but I'm going to consciously choose to do it in a different way. So maybe I start with the sugar first, and then the coffee, and then the cream, and I stir it counterclockwise. Even that's like awkward for me to like do. But all of that is going to make your brain focus, and you're going to be more aware of the things that you're doing. And I want you to really challenge yourself by picking something and doing it out of order. Okay? And so once you've done it, I want you to share it in the LinkedIn group as you've already been doing. So thank you for those who've already shared challenge from day 1. So share in the Playful Leaders and Managers group on LinkedIn. If you are not yet in the group, maybe it's because you haven't registered. You will get the link to be able to find it. If you're already registered, maybe the emails I'm sending have gone to your spam, so you might want to check that. But also you can just find it by searching on LinkedIn for Playful Leaders and Managers, and it'll pop up. So making sure that you participate this week, because there's a lot of fun going on. Today, we're Tuesday, we're in Defy Autopilot. We still have more coming up. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video, it's in the group so you can catch up. And next, we're going to be talking about tomorrow, finding your compass, building relationships, and playing away shame. So today's challenge is new choice. So I want you to interrupt your pattern. So pick an activity and go out of order so that you're forcing yourself to make a new choice, right? So think about what that's going to be, make your decision, and then commit to it and make your new choice activity. And when you're done, please go share in the LinkedIn group. And you can be as simple as just challenge 2 done, or you can give us more details. You can let us know what happened. What did you notice? How was it different than your usual way, or anything that you want to share? And remember, you get bonus points for interacting with other people's posts. And these are the real points, because at the end of the week, there is going to be a special prize for someone who was really supportive and accountable and posted all of the challenges and responded to others in the community group. So you definitely want to participate. I'm excited for that. So find us, and the fun continues in the LinkedIn group, Playful Leaders and Managers. This is so much fun. This is day 2, and we're not even halfway done. So thank you so much for being ready to be a playful leader, and how you show up is really going to transform your team and make you much more effective. So I want to hear how it goes. Challenge 2. Bye, everybody.